So Park Place is located in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, which is also on an island called Aquidneck Island. There are 3 towns on the island: Portsmouth to the north, Newport, obviously the most famous, to the south, and guess what? The town in the middle is called Middletown. We're about 8 miles north of the center of Newport, located in the Portsmouth Business Park. The park is just about full. There may be one more lot available here. The building sits on 4.93 acres of land in the northern part of the business park. The park is zoned for commercial and industrial use. I mention that because that is usage of land on the island today that is diminishing rapidly. There is some left, but it is certainly not encouraged by most of the population here. The building, which we built about 11 years ago, measures just under 49,000 square feet. As I think you've been able to see by looking at the rooftop, it looks like it's all on one level, but that's not really the case. And inside, we're going to show you that it's actually on 2 levels. One level having an 18-foot clearance, and the second level, following the way the land falls away, has a 22-foot clearance. It's a Mesco building. We made the decision to go with them. This is a building that is several notches above your typical sort of galvanized tin building. One, because it was sturdier, hurricane-proof, but also more efficient in terms of energy. We have infrared heaters, for example, that on both floors and throughout the building that we use to heat the building. And what this does is actually heat the objects in the building. And so ironically, the fuller the building is, the less our energy costs, or less our heating costs. We're also humidity controlled throughout the building. Not air conditioned, but humidity controlled. And we keep the variance in the humidity down to very few degrees given both winter and summer. As I say, the building is now 11 years old. I believe, I'd have to double check, but I think it's got a 30-year warranty. It has held up remarkably well, and it's got a lot of life left in it. I will say that I think that if you took Raytheon and the War College, both of them exist on this island, if you took them out of the picture, this is probably the second largest, or maybe even the largest, privately owned building on the island. It was not easy to build even 11 years ago, and we had a lot of environmental issues that we had to contend with, particularly water runoff. And we had to end up putting in a vortex chamber to actually absorb our neighbor's water and our own from going into an endangered species area. So as you enter the building, you'll see sort of the first of our display areas here in front with the murals that we put on the wall, and also the offices that we have, as well as our conference room. We make the conference room available to people who want to come here for car club events, or just even to tour the building. This is a seasonal business, obviously, and so right now, as you're looking at this video, you'll see that we've got, I think it's 86 cars that we are storing, and that's down from the peak time of the year, which is the end of January, a little later than I always thought, but that's when it seems to peak, and last year we had 146 cars. Every year that we've been in business, we've had growth someplace between 8 and 12% a year. Very consistent sort of organic growth. And then within that time period, we've also had a couple of significant spikes, one of which was caused by a fellow here who started a car museum. And I was talking to him coincidentally just last night, and he was explaining that he needed a place to store 50 cars overnight, and of course found Park Place. So he has subsequently found the museum, So we don't have those 50 cars anymore, but guess what? The museum is filling up, and I think we're probably going to get 10 or 20 more on the overflow. Downstairs, we have the shop, and we also have storage for not only cars. There are some cars that just never move, and we just cover them up and put them in corners. But more importantly, we have boats, trailers, and motorhomes. The motorhome market is a relatively new one for us, and as you can expect, there's a lot that has to be done to a motorhome to keep it maintained. And a lot of owners, we're finding out, love indoor storage because they don't have to winterize everything for the motorhome. The shop is about a third of our business. We do work primarily for people who store their cars with us, but we also do work on the outside. And as I alluded to earlier, we work on those cars that a lot of people just don't want to work on these days. And so that's kind of a niche market that we have developed. We have 3 lifts. One is a drive-on lift. We also have an exhaust evacuation system, which you can see up in the ceiling. We do a lot of mechanical work. In a way, we do a lot of just problem solving because old cars are like old people. They all have their issues, and we have to figure out what they are. Which brings me to the staff. Right now, we've got 3 full-time people, and we have 3 part-time people. One of those part-time persons is a factory-trained Porsche, Mercedes, Benz, Bentley mechanic, and happens to be a Brit, who I call in by appointment. And we then service some of these high-end cars so people don't have to take them to the dealership. Probably the best way to describe the core mission, if you will, of Park Place is that we are a support facility for people who like cars, collect cars, own cars, want to drive cars. And so we host car clubs. We will support Concours events that happen here. We've had tech sessions. And we also assist in the preparation of cars that are going to and from these shows, both loading, offloading, and detailing. But it is sort of a goodwill, fun part of the car ownership business, and that's what we try and support. And I like to say that if you collect anything, there's always some baggage that goes along with it. And so our fundamental mission is to remove the baggage, so that if you buy an old MG like you used to have when you were in high school, then now if it breaks down, you've got somebody to repair it. You've got somebody that takes care of it. And you also have a storage facility where it won't deteriorate. But I hope it's provided an overview of our operation here. Speaking of that, we do operate 7 days a week. We do not have the system where you can come in by yourself. There's no key entry system. We always want to have an adult supervisor here, and so ergo the 7-day-a-week schedule. The shop is open on 5 days a week, but the storage facility is open 7 days a week, from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. So again, thanks for your time and attention and interest in Park Place. We're open, as I say, 7 days a week, so drop by anytime. We'll give you the 25-cent tour.